Hi, Linda. Yes, we're going to get started in about 7 minutes now. Super excited to have you all here this evening.
Hi.
Hi, Shande.
Made it.
Yay. And good evening to everyone who signed in a little bit early. We'll get started at 6 o'clock.
Have my scarf.
Ooh, I love it. Got my cool background.
Are we hosts then?
You are.
Okay, because I see Shoshone or Shoshani.
Yes.
Is on too.
Oh, she's going to be rejoining as a panelist.
Okay.
So, and then we can promote her to host.
Okay.
Hi, Shoshani.
Hi.
It's
Hi.
nice to meet you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I see a baby head.
Yes.
Oh, so cute, so precious.
Thank you. Hi.
Aw.
I'm going to share a little intro video, but I'll probably start a little bit before 6. Since some of you are here early, we can actually start one of our activities to kind of get us engaged and get us ready. So I'm just going to share my screen with you real quick with the Padlet. And if Shande can share the link, that would be awesome. So hopefully you all know why you're here tonight. We're going to be talking about FAFSA. So while you were waiting to get started, if you want to jump into this Padlet, Shande is going to put the link into the Zoom chat and you could just click on that. And then just feel welcome to add what you would like to learn about FAFSA. If you forget the question, it's just up here at the top. And then you can click on this little addition sign down here in pink and you'll get a little sticky note and you could say, I want to learn about, let's put Pell Grant. So just something like that, and then press, when you're done, just click off to the side. And if you like somebody else's, you can come over here and heart it, which is nice. So feel welcome to get started with that. Like I said, we'll get started in about 3 minutes. Thank you, Shande.
You're welcome.
Ooh, these are all really good so far. I'm sure they'll all be good. Yeah, and our game show host for this evening is going to tell you a little bit about a game we're going to be playing a little later and how you can prepare. So I'll let Shande take the floor for a moment.
Yes, hopefully you received instructions to download Kahoot to your phone. It's just Kahoot. You can play on your iPhone or you can also play on screen.
Here are the directions for both of these activities, actually. So there's the website for Kahoot. And if you're looking for it on your phone, it's this giant purple icon with the white K. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that later. All right. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear it as well?
Mhm.
There's something you have to do when you share. You have to share audio too. There's like a double thing that you have to do.
Let me find that. Thank you for that tip. I've been trying to figure out how to do that. I
Yeah,
see it now.
We ran into that during the summer camp too. There you go,
Just taught us.
Micheline.
Thank you.
Yay.
Welcome to an American Indian College Fund event. We are the nation's largest and highest rated American Indian nonprofit organization, providing scholarships and support for thousands of Native students every year. We're glad that you joined us and hope that you'll discover other student resources and events at collegefund.org/Native Pathways. From informative webinars to culturally relevant Native student materials, you can find all that you need to find success in high school and beyond. You can also sign up to receive monthly updates filled with scholarship and internship opportunities at collegefund.org/stay connected, and follow us on our social media platforms at Native Pathways for daily posts with even more opportunities and resources you can use. You can always reach our friendly support staff at scholarships@collegefund.org or at 1-800-426-8900. During this event, you will be muted, but please open up the chat window in Zoom to ask questions and contribute to the discussion. Thanks for your attention. Now let's get started.
All right, awesome. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks everyone for joining us this evening for the FAFSA webinar. My name is Shonda Randall. I am Muskogee Creek from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and I serve as the Native Pathways Program Officer. Just want to introduce our coaches. Micheline Pennington is our high school college choice coach, and the beautiful Nicolette Weston is our tribal college transfer admissions coach. And they'll be presenting today along with Shoshani Perez, who's joining us. She's one of our American Indian College Fund ambassadors. So thank you all for joining us this evening. I did want to share a little bit about the American Indian College Fund. Our mission is to invest in Native students and tribal college students to transform lives and communities. We believe that education is the answer and provide American Indian and Alaska Natives like yourself with scholarships and program support. We are here to ensure that you have the tools to graduate and succeed in your future careers.
Awesome. Thank you, Shonda, for that wonderful introduction. Some of you were in early, and so you may have seen this already, but we will be playing a super fun game towards the middle, and we'll also have a raffle at the end, so stick around. We have some fun prizes this evening. But if you can download the Kahoot app, you can find that in the App Store or on Google Play, and the icon looks like that big purple square there with the white K. You can also find the desktop version, which is super easy, kahoot.com. We're also going to do a Padlet activity just to kind of get started, get us thinking about FAFSA. So if you can, Shonda, if you can put the link into the Zoom chat box one more time, you just click on the link and then press on the pink addition sign, and it'll add a little sticky note for you, and you can put in what you're interested in learning. And I can go ahead and share that so you can see, because some have already gotten started. So make sure you get download the Kahoot app to win some prizes and play our game, but then also make sure you sign into our Padlet here. And I see we already have some really great information here that people are interested in learning about. And if you see something that you're also interested in learning about, come on over here and press the heart, because you guys have a lot of great ideas. So one question will be whether or not this will be available to download. We are recording this session, and we also have some materials that we will provide to you after the session is over, so you'll have resources available. And for those of you who just signed into the Padlet, this is the little pink addition sign I was speaking of. You can press that, and then you've got your little sticky note here. And let's say you want to learn more about loans, and then you just write that in there and go like this. Somebody got really creative down here and they put in a picture. You can also put in a picture. I love seeing that. Learning about how Pell Grants work, that's super important. We're going to talk a little bit about Pell Grants today. Sorry, as they're coming in, it moves around really fast and then my eyes have a hard time following them. But they're all like really great things that you're interested in learning about today. And we'll try to touch on most of them. If we don't touch on them, you will have our Native Pathways email address, so you can reach out to us if you have questions. But you can also reach out to the financial aid office at the schools that you're interested in going to. And that's honestly the best place to learn more, especially when you're looking for more specific information to your situation. Awesome. Yeah, and these are a lot of really common questions. And so you're welcome to put questions into the chat box, but this might be fast moving. And if we don't get to your question, like I said, there will be time to answer questions at the end, and then you'll also be provided with our Native Pathways email. So I'm really happy to see that you're all here and you're thinking about these things. We're really excited to be talking about FAFSA because one, it's super important, and two, I think it can be kind of scary at first. So we're gonna walk you through it step by step. It's really not so scary, and then point you into some directions for some really great resources and people that you can reach out to when you do need assistance with that. So thank you all so much for participating in the Padlet activity, and we'll go ahead and get started. So as Shonday said, my name is Micheline and I'm one of the Native Pathways coaches. And the first thing that we're going to talk about are just some of the basics about FAFSA. The first thing that I want to point out is that FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And I'm just going to give you a hint. You're going to want to remember that for a couple of reasons. One is I highlighted the word free here. It's really important that when you're filling out the FAFSA, you're not being charged. I have had students complete the FAFSA and tell me that they paid $25 to do that. That's kind of scary because I don't know where you sent your information, but also it's free, so you don't have to pay for it. One way to make sure that you're always in the right place, you could just type in fafsa.gov into your browser and it'll take you straight to the FAFSA. So it's super easy that way. And you may be wondering, why is FAFSA important? Why am I here learning about this? Why do I even have to do this? FAFSA is the way that you're going to be considered for all kinds of different student aid, which we'll go through a little bit more in depth a little later in the presentation. But to be considered for any need-based grants or federal work study or loans, you're going to need to have your FAFSA on file. To be considered for any financial aid that may be offered by the specific college, your state, maybe your tribe, and some scholarships will also require you to have your FAFSA on file. So it's super important to get this done, and it's super important to get it done sooner than later. And Shonday is going to tell you a little story about that in a little bit. And then also some student programs that you might be interested in joining, they may require you to have your FAFSA on file. So for example, if you would like support through a TRIO program, like student support services, you typically need to have your FAFSA on file to be a part of that program. So even if you're not so sure about this whole FAFSA thing, please do it. It's super important. It's going to be available tomorrow. Pretty much every year it is available on October 1st. And the FAFSA that you're going to be filling out is the 2021-22 FAFSA, and it'll launch tomorrow. And I can't say it enough. It's so important that you get it done earlier than later. And I'm going to let Shonday share a little story with you.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I've worked as a scholarship officer before, and I've been a former financial aid director. We have had, I've served on several different scholarship committees in which we've actually had leftover scholarship dollars. So I encourage you to seek out all of the opportunities internally to your university or college. Also go outside of the scholarship office as well and look at diversity, alumni organizations, your student organizations. If you've declared a major, go to that particular office. For instance, it could be the College of Arts and Science, and they will have specific scholarships for arts and science majors, or the College of Engineering or the College of Business. So you can find different scholarships. in several different places within the university. I do have a story about signing up for a scholarship though. As I was telling you, I've served on a scholarship committee before where we've had several different students apply. All of the grades of the applicants were very high. The field of applicants, they were running neck and neck. They were all great students, high GPAs. They had beautiful futures ahead of them. And what it came down to in the very end, to decide who would get one of these scholarships, it came down to the student who applied first, because the field was very even. Like I said, they all had great grades. They had solid resumes. They had wonderful essays that they had written for the scholarship, and it came down to being the very first person who applied. So I encourage everyone, when it comes to scholarship applications and for your financial aid, I want you to be the very first in line. I want you to be the very first to have the opportunity to get your foot in the door and to have those scholarships and the grant and federal aid opportunities as quick as possible. An example that I like to share is, I would imagine a lot of you like to attend concerts. You probably have favorite bands that you like to go see, and you wait for those concert tickets to go on sale, or we used to whenever we get to go do that again, right? So we'll be waiting for that for the concert to open, and you know exactly when those tickets are going to go on sale, and you are the first in line or you're the first online to purchase those tickets. I want you to have that same enthusiasm when it comes to signing up for scholarships and your financial aid. I want you to be the very first one in line. I want you to be the very first to click submit to get that application and that opportunity procured for your future. All right, Micheline, back to you.
Thank you, Shonda. And I can say that that's just some of the best advice you can get, even when it comes to admissions and things like that. Earlier is always going to be better. So part of being early with the FAFSA is getting your FSA ID. This is typically something you want to do a couple of days before you complete your FAFSA to prevent any delays or errors. So if you don't already have that and you're a senior right now, or you're in college and you don't already have an FSA ID, I would make that tonight. It's important that not only you have an FSA ID, but also your parent and or guardian also has that. This is going to serve as your username and your password every single time that you sign into the FAFSA. So you also need to find a way to keep that safe. You don't share that with anyone. You don't want to create that for somebody else. So parents, don't create that for your student don't create that for your parent. And a quick tip for that is to sit down and create your FSA IDs together. And same thing with the FAFSA. If you have time to sit down and complete your FAFSA together, that's going to be very helpful in making sure that all of the steps are completed. So step one, get your FSA ID. Oh, and I do have the website down here, fsaid.ed.gov. And as I said, we will be providing some resources via email after this. So you will have this link and all the other links that we talk about. You also want to prepare yourself to apply. So you're going to need your FSA ID. You're also going to want to make sure you have your social security number with you. Your social security number, it might not seem super important, but it really is. It's the way that schools match up with your FAFSA. So you'll put your social security number on the FAFSA, but also on your admissions applications. And if it's wrong on either of those, it's difficult for them to match up and you may need to take extra steps.
It's very important. Hey, let me jump in here, Micheline. It's also very important that you use your name as it appears on your social security card. Exactly. I always like to give this advice, especially to women, because when we marry, we change our names. If we divorce, oftentimes we revert back to our maiden name, or some married women like to use the cool hyphenated name. Again, it must match identically to what your social security card says. So if you happen to be in the process of changing your name one way or the other, make sure that you're using the correct social security card with your name as it appears for all of your financial aid information.
Awesome, good tip, Shonda, and definitely something we're thinking about. You also want to make sure you have your 2019 tax record. So I saw someone ask this question in the Padlet, which taxes are you going to be using. For FAFSA, you're using what's called prior year. And so you're going to be using your 29 tax records for the 21-22 school year. You're also going to need records of any untaxed income. That could be things like child support or benefits that you receive through the military. Any records of your assets. So something that's quite common is having a bank statement to show what's in your checking and savings account. And then also a list of the schools that you're interested in. We're going to go over a little bit of this information again, more in depth. So first, step 3, you're going to put in your personal information. You can complete the FAFSA online, which is highly recommended. You can complete that at fafsa.gov, or you can use the My Student Aid mobile app, so you can even do this on your phone. The mobile app looks like that blue icon over there. So Federal Student Aid, you can find this in the App Store or the Google App Store. You can print it out, as I said, however, this is really not recommended, so only if you have to. The reason for that is that it can cause delays and errors. And also during COVID-19, they are experiencing a lot of the same issues all of us are experiencing, so it can be even more delayed than usual. You're going to fill out the FAFSA with your personal information, so you're going to need your address, your date of birth, your social security card, social security number, and things like that. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you are a male student and you are between the ages of 18 and 25, you do have to register for the Selective Service System to be eligible for financial aid. And if you haven't already done so, there will actually be a little easy box for you to check while you're in the FAFSA. So you can just go ahead and take care of that step while you're there. Step 4, you're going to want to list all of the colleges and career schools that you are interested in. You do have to list at least one, and you can list up to 10 of them. I have met students who apply for 14, 15 schools, and that's totally fine. However, if you do that, I recommend listing your top 10 schools in the FAFSA, and then if you need to make changes, you can log back into your FAFSA later and remove a school and put in the school that's kind of bumped up your list. The schools that you have in your FAFSA, those are the only schools that are going to receive your FAFSA information. And the only way that they can receive that information is if you've already applied to those schools and you've been admitted to them. And then again, you want to make sure that social security number is correct and accurate. Some states do also, most states offer aid as well. They offer financial aid, scholarships, grants, and even loans. And because of that, some of them require you to list in-state schools before you list your out-of-state school. So it's important to pay attention to that as well. Next, you're going to enter your financial information. This always seems really scary for people. They're like, well, where's my information going? And we just want to promise you that this information is only being used for financial aid purposes. So it's going to be passed along to those schools that you're applying to determine what aid you're going to be eligible for. The easiest way to get your financial information onto the FAFSA is by using the IRS data retrieval tool, which is already located in the FAFSA. It's not something that you need to find. You'll have the option and you'll just click on that and it'll take you to the IRS website. When you get to the IRS website, it's super important that you make sure that all of the information is listed exactly as it's listed on your 2019 tax forms. So I've had students, maybe in 2019, they lived in a different house, and then they moved to a new house and they keep putting their address in at their new location, but it won't pull the information up. And that's because it needs to match exactly what was put on your 2019 tax forms. You can also enter the information manually, but again, it's not necessarily encouraged to prevent any errors or delays. And then step 5, this is the last step. You want to make sure that you review it, go back through, make sure things are correct to prevent those delays, and then also sign and submit. After you submit, you're going to receive a confirmation page automatically. This confirmation page will look a little bit different than the one that you receive by email. So it's important that you take a screenshot or you print it off. It's going to have some really cool little facts about each school that you've applied to. When you receive the emailed one, it'll still have the financial information, but it's not going to have the extra college information. And then you also want to make sure that parents and guardians are signing and submitting theirs as well. I have seen FAFSAs, well, students complete their FAFSA and then they don't submit it and the school doesn't receive it. So you want to make sure you go through these last few steps. So now we're going to have Shoshani come on, and she's going to tell you some tips and tricks, which will be really valuable as a student and someone who's worked in higher ed.
Hi guys, I'm gonna keep my camera off. I have a teething 4-month-old daughter that is very hungry at the moment, so the only way for me to speak is to feed her. So I am still here. So good evening, my name is Shoshani Perez. I am a descendant of the Tulalip and Tlingit Haida peoples. I am also the first year experience advisor at Northwest Indian College, the passport advisor at Northwest Indian College, and a whole host of other titles. I've worked for the college for 7 years. And I have had a 9-year journey to complete my bachelor's degree at various different schools, doing the FAFSA, as well as starting my master's degree as well. So if you have any questions, student related side, I've been answering some of them. I'm more than happy to answer them. If you have questions, I saw some questions about parents and guardians and things like that. And if you are in the state of Washington, I can answer those questions in regards to passport students, because you are eligible for a very unique program that the state of Washington also has. So the first tip is to go back to what Micheline was talking about, is to use the IRS data retrieval tool, especially for students that are going to import parent tax information. This is extremely important because what happens, at least at our institution at Northwest Indian College, is about 95% of our students are selected for a process called verification. And so if parents or students themselves have not used the data retrieval tool to input their tax information, they have to go through a really long, arduous process of contacting the IRS to get a copy of the tax return or the tax transcripts from the year that they are applying for. So in this case, that means getting a copy of your 2019 tax transcripts. I'm hearing from multiple students right now that this is, just like Micheline is saying, as everybody is backed up because of COVID, that this is a really long process and a really difficult process right now. So we always tell students, use the IRS data retrieval tool as often as you can. The other one is to complete your FAFSA with your parent or guardian to ensure that it is complete. So like Micheline was also talking about, parent signatures. So there are a few cases where parents don't necessarily have to sign, and that is for students that may often be homeless, living on their own, or if you are 24 years or older, or have children, you qualify as an independent, so you won't need a parent's signature. But during the time that you are under the age of 24 and don't qualify for any of those parameters, you do need to have your parent's signature, and that can delay your FAFSA. But I did see a couple of things in the Padlet where students were talking about, I don't have contact with my parents. Please check in with your individual financial aid office. There are ways that you can go around this, but you still have to go through with the whole submitting process so that we do have your FAFSA on file. And then yes, completing your FAFSA online to delay processing. Please do not try and do it by hand. I don't think I've seen a student do it by hand in probably, I've been doing FAFSA, I graduated in 2011, so I've been doing it for almost 10 years. And I have never once had a student do it by paper. I can only imagine it's probably like trying to do your taxes by paper. It's probably not the most fun thing in the world. There's a lot of things that you don't understand. And when you do it online, it actually gives you question and answer. So you were able to say, oh, I don't understand what they're meaning by this, but you can actually see what they're asking for. Keep your FSA ID somewhere safe. I always suggest to students, because we are so mobile savvy, is putting it somewhere safe in your phone and hiding it. Because if you're like me, you take your phone with you everywhere you go. And so I actually use my phone, my notepad in my phone, to help me remember lots of usernames and passwords, because I change them so often so that I don't forget, especially when you end up having a baby. You find you get mom brain and you don't remember half of them. So it's always great to have it on hand. And you also don't want to get locked out of your account. I've had students that have spent over an hour waiting on hold to talk to the Department of Education because they forgot their FSA ID, put it in too many times, and locked themselves out of their account. So it delays the processing in your financial aid. Check your email regularly from financial aid. Please do so. So in these COVID times where we're all at pandemics, for instance, Northwest Indian College is working from home or working remotely. So we're not sending stuff out in the mail. It takes too long to get to students, and oftentimes we find our students' mailing addresses update so rapidly. And so we are sending things in an email. And so I always suggest to students to keep an eye on your email. Check once a day, a few times a day. If you're like me and it gets a notification, I check it more times than I would like to admit, or my husband would probably like to admit as well. But that's how we communicate with you as students. And it can mean, just like Shonda was talking about, it can mean some very important things such as missing deadlines for scholarships. So when I applied to Western Washington University, actually, when I was on my associate's degree and was starting my first part of my bachelor's degree, by completing my FAFSA and being admitted to Western Washington University, I was actually put in a pool for an application for a scholarship for new admits or for transfer students. And that was all done by completing my FAFSA and by doing all of my admittance documents. And I was sent all of those notifications to my email. So it was super important. The other thing I also like to tell students, kind of going back to the confirmation page, is a lot of students take that for word as to what a college is going to give you. That is just a best guesstimate from the Department of Education and a bunch of stuff that we put in there for them to tell you how much you are going to get. So please always follow up with your financial aid office, because I think my favorite question that I always get is, well, it said I was going to get $15,000. Why are you only offering me 10? Because there's a lot more that goes into it. And most often that changes when you're selected for a process called verification. So always check in with that. And then pay attention to deadlines. I talk to high school students all the time, and I really push this. The easiest way to remember the deadline, the priority deadline for most colleges, is think of February 14th, you fall in love. February 15th, you think about how much money you spent trying to keep your spouse in your life. That's usually the way I try and remember it. So February 14th is Valentine's Day. February 15th is usually the priority deadline for most institutions. And that's just getting your FAFSA submitted. That could also be their deadline for having you submit all your materials as well and be verified and ready to go. And the other tip and trick that I was actually taught in high school that has stuck with me for 11 years, almost 11 years, is when you're asked how much money is in your savings account. As a college student, you should always pretend that you are broke, whether you are broke or not. So you always should put 0, because they are really not necessarily going to say, okay, Shoshani, I need to see your savings account statement. They are going to believe that you're a college student and you are broke. And the more that you are honest and that you put that information in there, it's really great information to help aid you in getting selected, not selected for verification and being complete. But just like Micheline was saying, and Shonda has also said, is please, from a college professional standpoint, please submit your FAFSA. Don't not submit your FAFSA. We actually require our students to submit their FAFSA in order to be able to qualify for scholarships. And that is the number one question that I get asked is, well, I know I'm not going to qualify. And then my first response is, how do you know you're not going to qualify? Because we don't know that until it's gone through the whole entire process. So even if you think you make too much money or your parents make too much money, always apply. And I'm definitely here if you guys have any questions, whether it's from a college standpoint, in terms of how to go around things, questions for students maybe in foster care. I work with a lot of students in that realm as well, and then just as a student as well.
Shoshani, I have a question.
Absolutely.
How would you explain to students if they happen to have had a change in their income since they filed their taxes?
Yeah, so of course we're going based off of so of course everything goes based off of your 2019 income, and especially right now this is a really popular, not popular, but this is something that is happening very frequently with people getting laid off and being on unemployment. So in our office, we have a form that's called change of circumstance, and I believe it's very similar in most offices. So if your income has changed from 2019 to now, whether it's gone up or it's gone down, you can file for a change of circumstance. Hopefully, if it's gone up, you don't file for the change of circumstance, because that may disqualify you for a lot of things. But if it has gone down, check with your financial aid office and ask them for a change of circumstance and how you go about that, because you can most oftentimes provide your tax return from the previous year to help support the fact that you need additional funding so that you can go to school.
Thank you so much. I also like to add that oftentimes states will have a separate application for state aid. They often coincide with the new October 1st deadline or opening date for the FAFSA. So you'll want to check with your states. Either they could be called a variety of things. Sometimes they're called the Regents of Higher Education. Sometimes they're called the Board of Regents or the Office of Higher Education. But you're going to want to check with your state entity or university system to find out what type of state aid is available to you, what the priority deadline is, and how to apply. Sometimes it's taken directly from the FAFSA, and oftentimes it is a combination of your FAFSA information in combination with a separate application that you may need to submit through their office. I do have a list of a few of the state entities, and I'm going to drop those in the chat box so I don't take up too much more time, Micheline.
Awesome. Thank you both. Those were very great tips. Now we're going to get ready to play our game, and Shonday will be our game show host. So this is where Kahoot comes in. If you weren't here in the beginning, if you can really quickly download Kahoot, it's in the App Store or in Google. You can also find it on your desktop at kahoot.com. And I'll let Shonday take it from here.
Okay. Actually, Micheline, I got to share my screen to start that game. So if I can interrupt your screen time here, and then I'll start. All right. Let me get this. Okay.
Shonday, you're muted.
I said some really cool stuff too. You really missed out. Okay, I just wanted to let you know that we've got some really cool prizes that we're going to give away. So we're going to play this quiz, and we'll have 3 winners, whoever has the top scores from playing this financial aid quiz. The first place winner is going to win Bluetooth earbuds and a swag bag of college funds, academic fun stuff. The second place winner is going to win a $25 Amazon gift certificate plus a college fund mask. And third place will win a swag bag full of cool gifts. So good luck to everybody. I'm going to make sure everybody's on there. I only see a few names. I think everybody's starting to get signed in.
Yeah, everyone's getting signed in. I believe we had, what was it, 40, is it 47 participants? What's our participant number at?
I see 48 participants, but that, yeah.
So I'm not playing because I'll be in control of the game. Shonday will be the game show host. So if we have 48, Micheline and Shoshani can go ahead and jump in if you two would like. We just won't be able to give Micheline any prizes. That wouldn't be fair.
Okay, we've only got 18, 19. Everybody can quickly as you can.
And I saw that some people are having trouble downloading it quickly. If you just go to the desktop version, it's also very easy. And then you can just enter the same game pin. You might not be able to follow. You could just minimize your screen and try to follow along with Shonday as well.
And if you look at the screen, you can see the game pin at the top, 3354765.
Yeah, and just follow the www.kahoot.it or with the Kahoot app if you have the Kahoot app. I know we had a couple of people on just by phone, so they might not be able to hop on either.
All right, we're getting a few more. That's good.
Okay. Rosemary, did she get on? We have 2 Rosemarys. Are they both on? It looks like they were trying to sign on. All right, so just keep in mind this this game is pretty much overviewing everything Micheline, Shonday, and Shoshani just talked about. So take a deep breath and let some of that information process. We're up to 27 now, so 28. When do you want me to start, ladies?
We'll need to start pretty quick because we've only got about 20 minutes left for our presentation time. So,
Okay, so we'll start here. I'm gonna turn the sound up. Can you guys let me know if you hear it?
Yes.
All right, we're up to 30. Here we go. 31. All right, guys, I'm gonna start this game here.
okay.
I'll give a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go.
All right. Welcome to the College Fund FAFSA quiz. Our first question, what does FAFSA stand for? You're going to answer on your phone if you can phone app. The website version. Got 5 seconds left. Everybody get your answer in? All right.
Nice.
17 got the answer correct. Good job. Free application. Never pay for FAFSA. Okay, true or false? The first day you can access and submit your FAFSA is October 1st. True or false?
Nice. Nice.
And all right, true. Tomorrow is opening day for the 2021-2022 FAFSA. All right, next question. When should student and families start making a plan to pay for college? Should you start junior year of high school, senior year of high school, early as possible? Who needs a plan? Oh, everybody's answering. All right, good job. Oh, Tanya and Stinny and Barbara are vying for the lead. All right, question 4. According to student surveys, what is the most important factor in choosing a college? Where it is, how much it costs, what you're majoring in, where all your buddies are going to go to school. All right. And question number 5. Most students don't pay the full price of college. What they pay is called a little financial literacy question. Net price, bid price, discounted price, sale price. This one was kind of tricky. Very good. Good job. Awesome. You guys know a lot. All right, question number 6. What do you need to do before completing the FAFSA application? What needs to be done? There is one correct answer, but there's going to be 3 winners. All right, gather up that tax and financial information. Be ready for tomorrow. Question 7. How can students and families help pay for college? This is a multiple choice question, and you will have to click submit to send your answer in on this one. College savings plan, job. Oh, we get a new leader. Julian takes the lead. Oh, show. You better be ready. What is the main federal grant program? I tried to trick everybody on this one. What is the grant that we all want? Awesome. Great job. Show takes the lead. I'm so excited. All right, question number 9. What is the main factor in evaluating if you are eligible for a Pell Grant? Excellent. Financial need. Pell Grant is a need-based grant. And last but not least, we wanted to take a poll. And we're curious, out of everybody that attended today, will you complete the FAFSA? Maybe. Who are those 2 maybe people? I'm going to talk to you. I'm looking you up right now. I'm going to be calling you on the phone. We're going to talk about that. Great job, guys. I hope you had fun. Now we get to see who our winners. 3rd place is David N. Flag bag. 2nd place is Barbara D. She won the Bluetooth earbuds. Show!
Somebody else lost it. That's me.
No, you all right. Great job, guys.
All right, awesome. That was fun, and I hope you all had fun. And we do have a raffle prize at the end, so stay tuned. Next, Nicolette is going to share a little bit about the different types of aid.
Or can you hear me? Oh, sorry. I must be on mute. Am I
No,
on
you're
mute?
good.
Am I good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. My heart's racing a little bit like I was playing that game. So the next slide we're going to go over is the different types of aid. So there's a variety of financial aid sources that are available to help you pay for college. Some of those types are grants, scholarships, work study programs, and federal loans. So going briefly over grants. So that the grants are basically what we just went over. Pell Grant is one of those grants that can help pay for college. Just a form of financial aid that you don't have to repay unless you withdraw from school or you owe a refund, or you receive a certain type of grant that you have to complete a specific obligation to. And there's a variety of different grants that are available besides Pell Grant. There's federal supplemental education opportunity grants. There's various tribal education assistance grants. And there's also like military grants. I think there's grants for, there's service grants for Iraq and Afghanistan. There's also one that we sometimes overlook a lot is tribal grants. So within your own tribes, you also have those higher education grants that your higher education department also offers. And then scholarships. So there's many nonprofit and private organizations that offer scholarships to help students pay for their college. This is a type of free money, which is sometimes based on your academic merit, your talent, some certain particular area of study, just something that can make a real difference in helping you manage your education expenses. Then there's work study programs. So there's a federal work study program that allows you to earn money to pay for school by working part-time. And then we have loans. These are kind of the the go-to, which I was taught when you don't, qualify for any of those other types of aids. So I was taught to go after as much scholarships and grants and these work study programs prior to having to take out a loan. So when you receive a student loan, you're actually borrowing money to attend college, and you must repay this loan as well as the interest that it accrues. So it's important to really understand your repayment options so that you can successfully repay your loan. And then if you want to go to the next slide, Micheline, I think we're 10 minutes in. So this next slide is state financial aid programs. This is the one Shonda had typed in the chat box. If you guys look into your chat box, Shonda, were you able to drop those links in there for?
I'm doing it right now.
Awesome. So state financial aid programs, other than financial aid, you might also qualify or be eligible for financial assistance from your state. And Shonda is going to type in these, actually paste in all these links that will be helpful for you to really look at those state financial aid programs. And I believe Shoshani actually mentioned too, foster care. If you are a if you are a student who came from foster care, that's also would fall under that state government aid that can assist you too in paying for college. And then we went over the grants, the scholarships, and the loans. And then other important terms that you want to keep in mind are your expected family contributions. So I heard Shoshani go over this earlier. This is really what's going to measure what you get for your what you qualify for your FAFSA. So your expected family contribution is a measure of your family's financial strength. It's basically calculated according to a certain formula established by law. So your family's taxed and untaxed income, assets, benefits are all considered in this formula. Your family size, the number of family members who will attend college during that year are also considered. And also, please note, your EFC is not the amount of money your family will have to pay for college, nor is it the amount of the federal student aid that you will receive. It is just a number used by your school to calculate that amount of federal student aid that you're eligible to receive. And then the other important term to remember is your cost of attendance. So your cost of attendance is just the amount that it will cost you to go to school. Most 2-year and 4-year colleges will calculate their cost of attendance to show their total cost for that school year. So for instance, fall semester plus spring semester. Some schools with programs that last a different period of time, so for instance, 18 months, might show a different cost of attendance that covers that specific amount of time period.
So the cost of, I kind of want to interject if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead,
Shonda. Attendance also includes things that you're not necessarily paying directly to the school. So for instance, it's also things that you need just to live. So transportation is usually considered as part of that. Room and board. Now, if you live in the dormitories, yes, your money is going directly to the university for your room and board for the dormitory. But if you live off campus, you still need room and board to someplace to sleep and food to eat. So that's going to still be part of your calculation. Yes. Things that you would want to consider too if you're living far away from home is when we talk about the transportation, the frequency of which you may want or need to go home, whether it's for family, because you help take care of your elders, or maybe you work a job back home, or you have community or tribal or cultural responsibilities to take care of. So again, things that you really want to be aware of for your cost of attendance.
Definitely. So it's basically the estimate of your tuition and fees, cost of room and board, cost of books, supplies, transportation, loan fees, miscellaneous expenses. Some colleges will include a documented cost of like a personal computer. Just like Shonda said, allowance for child care, dependent care, costs of related, even disability too, and reasonable costs for eligible study abroad programs even. You could go to the next slide, Micheline. Okay, this is the fun question. We get asked this all of the time. This is a very good slide. We saved the best for last. So scholarships and where to find them. Of course, you're going to look us up at the American Indian College Fund. So American Indian College Fund is a really great, just pretty much a portal for our tribal college students to access those college specific college scholarships that pertain to, you know, us as tribal college students. Scholarship newsletters. We went over state aid and where to find those. Tribal scholarships. So you want to really look in your resources within your community and your tribes to find out what they're offering. Scholarship sites like Google, FastWeb, College Board, and then which college you're attending. They also offer a wealth of opportunities for college scholarships for you as well. So really make sure you're expanding and broadening your search for those college scholarships and apply as much as you can to as many scholarships as you can possibly apply to. Okay.
Thank you, Nicolette. One tip I would like to add to that, because I would get this question a lot when I worked in admissions. Students would ask me, like, how much time should they spend filling out scholarship applications? How many should they apply for? I actually think it's a great opportunity to kind of prepare for the schoolwork that you're going to start having in college, because you're going to be spending maybe a little bit more time than you would in high school doing that work. So picking a couple of scholarships every week and applying for those throughout the entire year. As Shoshani mentioned, make sure you have those deadlines like listed on a calendar. They come up really quick, like the Gates Scholarship, which is a huge one. The deadline for that is like now, or maybe it already passed. Like, so it's really important that you're keeping those things in mind. And some tips to make it a little bit easier for you. When you're writing your scholarship essay, keep a copy of that. Keep it on a flash drive, keep it in Google Drive, have a couple of places where you have that and you can access it and edit it easily so you can apply for multiple scholarships. Same for recommendation letters that you can get from teachers and counselors and other mentors who are in your life. So it looks like we're getting really close to 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and I think one last thing to reiterate to Micheline is reach out to your financial advisors. They are going to be your contact person and your connection to all of these opportunities to help you pay for college.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. And Shonda just put in some scholarship sites to take a look at too. I mentioned earlier we'll be sending out a resource sheet that'll have live links for you to click on where you can find some of these, but not all of them. So definitely take down the ones that Shonda is sharing now. And I see that we have a question, and it is this only for new college students? If you're referring to the scholarships and even the FAFSA information, most of this would apply for new college students, but also for students who are currently enrolled in a community or tribal college or even a mainstream institution. So all of this information can be useful to you when you're looking for scholarships, tribal grants and scholarships, and also filling out your FAFSA.
I'd also like to give a big shout out to all the parents that joined us today, or students that are parents. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to encourage you too, if you have thought about returning to school or starting college. A little bit about myself. I'm an adult returning student myself. It wasn't until after I had my daughter that I was really able to put myself back to school, that I was really emotionally, mentally, and financially prepared to do so. It took the love of my child to love myself enough to know enough to have the confidence, the maturity, and the motivation to get back in school. So if any of you parents or adult students are thinking about jumping back into school, we are happy to help you as well. So please reach out to Micheline, Nicolette, or myself, and we're happy to assist you.
And you can see our contact information on our background. So if you want to remember that, maybe take a picture of it with your phone. Is an easy way to kind of have a moving business card with you. And then we should have a raffle prize winner, right?
Are we going to announce the winners of the Kahoot and then the raffle prize? Are they
Yeah.
already? Okay.
So we kind of had to move some things around a little bit, and we're going to have to refer back to the Kahoot score. So I'll double check that.
It was, is it Shoshani as first? And
Yes.
Barb D and David N.
I believe that's Barbara Domenzane, if I pronounced that correctly. And I don't see a David N. So David N, you're going to have to identify yourself to us to let us know who you are, or if you're still on here, because I didn't see a David. So be sure and let me know.
That is correct.
And so our grand prize winner today, who stayed for the whole thing, played the games, but we're giving away an Amazon Fire tablet plus a Native Pathways t-shirt. Today's winner is Mary Jane Running Shield.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Is she on right now?
Yes. Well, she was. No, she is.
Oh yeah, she is.
Congratulations. So we will be in contact with you to get your mailing addresses to get your prizes to you.
All right, so that's our time. Thank you all
Awesome.
for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We look forward to working with you soon. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening.